In this week's video, I'm going to 4 different locations around Aarhus where I've lived for the past 2 years. I'm going to, as always, share both settings and thoughts on composition and the photos themselves with you. But it's also going to be a little bit of a sentimental video because this is the last time I'm going to record anything in this apartment. I do have a pre-recorded video coming out, hopefully next week. But Sophie and I are moving out. We are moving to Zealand in the autumn, and we are of course super excited about that. Hopefully until then we will be able to do a little bit of traveling, which we haven't done for long term for like 4 years. So back to this video here, 4 locations that I wanted to scratch off my bucket list in the local landscapes for a long time. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. So tonight I've come out to a scene that I've wanted to photograph for about half a year or so. I discovered it this winter when I was researching areas to photograph around Aarhus. And yeah, I scouted it this winter, and as you can see, I have a beautiful old oak tree here. We don't have too many of those standing around like this in Denmark. And then some field here in the background and some plains leading up into a little town here in the background. You probably can't even see it. And then of course the sunset up here. So the scene is fairly simple, and I like my simple photos. For once, it's not a central composition, just going with a classic rule of thirds. I think it works in this case here because I have the oak tree in the lower left third, and then I hopefully will get a pretty sky in the rest of the photo to fill up the frame. Right now it doesn't look too sure, but hopefully the light will pop out at some point. Settings wise, also super simple. There's really not a whole lot to it when it's landscape photography. As you can see, aperture priority, as I'm always in. F11, just to get the sharpest possible photos. It's not like I have too much emphasis on the foreground, so F11 is sufficient. ISO 100, that gives me a shutter speed of 1/25 of a second, and I'm also bracketing the photo. I will most likely not need those brackets. At least that's my experience by now, having photographed with this camera for 3-ish years. That in a scene like this, even though I'm shooting into the sun and into the light, it is really good at capturing the highlights, and the shadows I can usually just up those. So yeah, beautiful evening. It's really nice being out here photographing this tree. It was like on my bucket list of things I wanted to photograph before moving away from Aarhus. Because almost no matter where I'm moving, this is not an obvious scene to drive to, either during mornings or during sunsets. So yeah, a beautiful little scene representing, well, most of Denmark. So one of the locations I've actually wanted to photograph for quite a while is this mill up here. It's a beautiful Dutch mill we have standing around. And I've just realized that the entire field in front of it is actually canola, also known as rapeseed. So I could actually have got this shot with a completely yellow flower field in front, which is annoying. That would have been such a great shot. But right now I have the canola, it is green now, and I have a few poppies spread out in the field, which I also think is pretty decent, so I can have this play between the greens and the reds, and then the blue sky and the meal straight in the middle. I'm using the 100 to 400 millimeter at f11 because I don't want the foreground to be, well, it will be super blurry, but I don't want it to be completely bokeh-licious. So I just want to have it easy to interpret the shot, so there's a sense that it is greens and reds and poppies. Countryside in Denmark, so many cars. So it's actually quite easy. I'm simply just going to find the right angle where I can have the canola fields right in front of me, and then I can introduce a few poppies just to get that red in there. And then I'm showing as much of the mill as I can right here. And then I have also actually the hills there and a great perception of depth right here in front. This is actually going to be a really nice shot, and I'm so sad that this field is not completely yellow, because that would just have been so good. But I actually like this too. So yeah, it's just about getting those shots done that you know that you're probably not going to return to anytime soon. If you so far enjoy this video, I would highly appreciate a like, and when you're down there, also a comment. Just tell me everything you have on your heart. Let me know what you had for breakfast. Let me know what you're going to have for dinner tonight. Anything goes. It really helps to push this video out to even more people on YouTube. So it is almost sunset, and I've come over to a couple of grave mounds, which also are a very nice vantage point all the way over this part of Denmark here. So we can see very, very far all the way around here. It's of course a little bit hard to see on a wide angle, but it's just so calm out here, very nice. But what I was mainly attracted to are the fields down here, and that is why I brought the long lens from the car. So I'm just going to zoom in to those patterns, follow the tractor tracks in the field, and just use the patterns that the light creates on the hills in the fields. Looks really, really nice. The thing about the patterns is that you learn to spot those over time. It's just there, and then it's like, ah, that's fairly obvious to point your camera towards that. So if you want to learn more about that and learn about pattern recognition and yeah, just seeing compositions, be sure to get my 2 ebooks, or one of them. There is a link down in the description. And yeah, I cover basically everything you need to know about composition in those ebooks. There are a couple of light versions too. If you don't know whether or not you want them or not, then you can check those out first. So yeah, link in the description. I'm shooting it at around f11. That's enough to get everything in focus from back to front, even though I'm zoomed so far in, because it's so far away from me. And I'm still going handheld shooting at ISO 200, and it gives me a shutter speed of around 1/60th of a second for this shot here. But very, very beautiful, very, very pretty. I usually don't come to vantage points to take photographs, but I was driving by anyway, didn't really have any plan. Let's just go up and look at the beautiful view, and a beautiful view it really is. When the sun is low and it paints the landscape, even though it's a hilly rural landscape. I guess because it's hilly, it actually helps quite a lot, because then you get all the texture of the landscape and the shape of the hills. So yeah, here are the photos. So a little bit more than a year ago, I released a video on how to find new locations, original locations, locations that you yourself haven't heard about that might be of interest to photograph. And in one of those tips, I said simply just either go for a drive around your countryside, or when you're going from A to B, drive a road that you usually don't drive. And maybe you see something. And that's exactly what happened a couple of weeks ago. Sophie and I, we were out driving from location A, where we haven't really been before, to location B, because I just wanted to go for a walk in a new location. But on the road, I stumbled upon a tower. And you see, we do have towers in Denmark, water towers and old stuff. But we don't really have towers standing out in the middle of the countryside. I had never ever heard about this tower, and it's only like 20 minutes north of Aarhus from where I live. I never heard about it. But it's called Tolbjergtårnet. In olden days, there were a mill, got hit by lightning, burned down. Then they built like a wooden tower, didn't last for long, and then decided to build a stone tower instead, and it had been standing here for a little less than 100 years or so. So yeah, it kind of looks like it's really pretty tower. It looks like it could be in a fantasy story, right? So I came out tonight because I could see that the clouds were interesting, the sunset was interesting, and it was promising that there would be some light coming in. And since these are some of my last weeks in Aarhus, I better get the photos that I really want to take taken. There's so many mosquitoes here. So yeah, I came out here, beautiful side light, the sun just peeked out for a little moment, beautiful side light, background gray clouds, lots of texture, and I have this natural framing of the trees here. I have this hole up here, and I'm probably going to like cut through here, and then I will just fill out that little gap. You can see here on the back of my screen, this up here. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going vertical or horizontal yet, but yeah, let's see to it. Maybe I make one of both. Settings wise, also super simple. F11, ISO 100, and the shutter speed is whatever it is. I'm just exposing for the tower, but it's not really a huge problem. The camera can easily take in the entire dynamic range in this location. So yeah, I have got my shots from here. So now we'll just go around and see if I can find something more. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Let's see. Yeah, it's not like the tower is adding that much to the view. It's funny, just standing up here and looking out over the countryside. This place doesn't get any more Danish, for me at least. This here is the very definition of what Denmark is. Wind turbines out here, a little half-old church, probably like, I don't know, 500 years old, and then just farms, farmland, long rolling hills, just full of fields, and then just sporadic trees, collection of trees standing around. And all of this is not necessarily a negative thing. Like, I love my country's landscape, but it does become quite a lot the same. But that's the thing, as you can see, turning all the way around here. Not a single mountain all around. This hill here is like the tallest in the area. The view is beautiful, but you know, it's not the Faroe Islands or Himalaya or anything like that, even England. Oh yeah, beautiful evening. Not sure the sun will come out anymore, but yeah, got a couple of shots I came for, so I guess job well done. Took like 2 minutes. And here they are. If you want to learn how I edit my photos, be sure to enroll in my huge Photoshop for landscape photographers post-processing course. I've designed it to be very easy to understand so that you can move easily from Lightroom or Camera Raw onto Photoshop and really utilize the best post-processing software out there on the market. I'm going to teach you all the techniques that I know, and then you can of course pick and choose what you want to use in your landscape photography. But everything from luminosity masking, blending with luminosity masking, how to add atmosphere, how to focus stack, how to dodge and burn, how to focus blend, how to clean your photos from distractions, how to make high contrast black and whites, and generally how to just make your photos pop without going over the edge and making unrealistic landscape photography editing. There is a coupon code down in the description if you want to save a little bit of money. If you enjoyed this video, I would highly appreciate both a like and a comment. Be sure to check out the links in the description, use the coupon code for the post-processing course, and check out the ebooks.